shall be caretaker of your stronghold once more. Oh, so many things. So many objectives. I have to leave immediately, though, because the invisibility wears off. Go, Rex. Keep your promise. Okay, so it seems like the most pressing thing right now, or at least the closest objective to me, is to meet the Roman squad.
True leaders are rare.
Romans, I bring your orders from Dakram. Help me against the Teutons. So be it, warrior. These barbarians don't stand a chance. Ah, now they're teal, they're my color. Oh, they're not even fighting. Dude, Jesus. Fight. To be honest, it's hard to... There's only so many Roman soldiers that could surround a single horseman. Some of them have to wait until they get another target.
Look out for danger.
The ones that aren't able to get to the horseman
Following your orders.
Okay, now that we have these Romans,
look out for danger.
I suppose I should show you how they work. So you have many different types of Roman soldier. Let's think about it in terms of the Gaulish soldier types. You know, the Gauls, they have swordsmen, axemen that are a bit stronger infantry than swordsmen. They have archers. They have spearmen, which have a particular type of attack, piercing damage, that has different abilities. The spearmen are better against certain types of troops than slashing damage infantry. So spearmen aren't necessarily the best infantry, bar none, just because they're more expensive than axemen or swordsmen and farther along in the tech tree. And then, of course, you have the horsemen, their swords, and probably a couple others. Well, the Romans are more dependent, I think, on two specific types of soldier. The hostatus, with the gladius, and the most classic form of Roman infantry armor, which is called the lorica segmentata, which is used at a particular point in the history of the Roman Empire. I forget exactly when. But it's considered the most aesthetically pleasing type of Roman armor, and therefore the most common in video games and movies. And the hastati, of course, have the gladius, which I actually spoke at length about Roman infantry tactics and the gladius in my very first episode, where I made a short talk on Celtic history. And actually, the lorica segmentata, as this sort of shining example of Roman military engineering, was created for one purpose, which was to stop the falx. The falx is basically like a curved scythe that is used in warfare by the Dacians. Dacians are basically another barbarian ethnic group, another collection of tribes. Although I believe by the time the Romans rolled around to conquer them, this is in modern-day central Romania, the Dacians have unified into a single kingdom. The Getae, or the Getians, may or may not be synonymous with the Dacian kingdom. That's a word you'll hear in terms of Dacian history, the Getae. The Dacian kingdom definitely had not lasted for a very long time, but it was the main line of defense in that region when the Romans came. And the falx that they used, this war scythe, which sort of looked a lot like, I don't know if you guys remember the Fellowship of the Ring and the beginning sequence with the elven warriors with their long shields and their long gold and black swords. Beautiful curved swords, not really a katana, but really something a bit different, with a really long hilt in comparison to the average sword. Not exactly sure how practical that would be. It'd be kind of cool to watch a video about the High Elven sword and Fellowship of the Ring. But the falx is very similar, and actually I'll put up a picture of a Dacian falx on the screen now. So, lorica segmentata was made to be well, my troops are running out of health here because they're out of food. But the lorica segmentata was made to be a defense against the falx. And as I mentioned earlier, they had the rectangular scutum shield, like you see right here, and the gladius, the short stabbing knife. Those are the hastati. Now, let's see here. I could be totally off base, but there may be some significant historical inaccuracies here. The hastatus was a Roman Republic era soldier type that had a shield and a gladius, but I don't think that the Roman Republic military organization type soldiers, I don't think that the hastatus and this other one, the principe, or the principe, whichever take it back, principe or principe, I don't think that the lorica segmentata was used by these two soldier types. I think lorica segmentata was in a Roman Empire thing. I have to look that up, definitely. I could just definitely talk all day about the history of the evolution of Roman arms and armor and like organization on the battlefield and different regiments and tactics. Very interesting. The principle in this particular game, they are represented as having long spears. I don't believe that's necessarily accurate. I think because in Rome Total War, the principals have gladiuses as well, gladii, and I believe in history the principal was just had the same weapon and shield type as the hastatus, but they might have had better armor, and they were considered higher status because they were more highly trained and more senior soldiers. But in this game, they're represented differently from the hastatus particularly in terms of having spears instead of gladiuses, and a helmet that sort of looks more rounded, whereas there's like the hastati helmet sort of doesn't cover their forehead as much as the principe one does.
I need
I
more
don't know.
men.
mean, I like the way the general Roman soldiers look in this game, especially if they're separated from a hero.
Move quietly.
And
Be
separated
ready
from a
for
hero.
anything.
That doesn't make any
We
sense.
fight.
Especially if they're lower
Be ready for
level
anything.
and
With one
don't
mini
have
battle.
this sort of bright yellow armor. As a result, they have more of a normal-looking white armor.
Be ready for anything.
If you remember,
Follow
you know,
my
back
lead.
when I was
Swords ready.
fighting alongside different Gallic chieftains and fighting through to different Teuton encampments with my axemen that I had, and my axemen stayed alive until the very end, and very few of them died. Well, that was because they were leveling up. And as your soldiers level up, of course, the main point of that is to get more attack points. But you'll also get really nice yellow
Look out for
armor.
danger.
I mean, sometimes it can look
Ready
nice,
as
sometimes
always.
it looks weird. In the case of Roman soldiers. But yeah, the Romans in this
Following
game
your orders.
have the two main infantry
as always.
types, Status and Principes. And then they have
Swords ready.
Praetorians, which are really aesthetic-looking elite warriors. The Praetorians in real life were like a political class. Like, they weren't like a... I'm pretty sure they weren't like a type of soldier that, like, marched in armies in the hundreds. Or anything like that. Sorry, I got my water bottle here. I'm pretty sure they were, because they were the Emperor's bodyguards. So technically, they shouldn't even be involved in this game that takes place in the late Republic. But what can you do? And so, but in
Following your
Rome,
orders.
there's
Swords
a
ready.
Praetorian
One mini
unit that
battle.
you can train,
Following your
Praetorian
orders.
regiment of soldiers. You could have an entire army did nothing but hundreds of Praetorians if you wanted to. I think the Praetorians are portrayed this way in Roman-related video
danger.
games, just because
Ready
the
as
word
always.
Praetorian sounds fucking awesome,
Shields in front.
especially in its
Look out for
original
danger.
classical Latin pronunciation,
as always.
Praetorian.
Be ready for anything.
Praetorians. So you've got the Praetorians. You've got actually gladiators.
Shields
What
in
are
front.
fundamentally gladiators that you can train in this game too. They have a different sort of training mechanic. I don't
We
think
fight
they train
to the
from
end.
the barracks.
Swords ready.
But the gladiators sort of look like barbarian warriors in a sense. They're shirtless, and they've got like stereotypical brown wooden shields and furs, like you would expect a barbarian warrior to have. I'm not exactly sure if
With
they're
one
meant
mini
to
battle.
represent captured
Following your orders.
Celtic and Germanic prisoners of war sent to fight in the arenas. And then you've got the archers, Roman archers, which are very aesthetic and very nice, just
Look
like
out for
the
danger.
Gaulish archers.
Ready as always.
And then the scout horsemen, which are useful to have. It's always useful to have some faster troops. But I don't think they're quite as powerful as the Gaulish horsemen. Their furs and their long swords and their horned helmets. But yeah, that's the Roman army. Let's see. Study, Principe, archer, scout, liberati. What's the term for a gladiator? If I hadn't said that before, liberati. Yeah. They don't have any triarii, which is important. Was a very important part of the Roman Republic's army. I think that's one thing that, you know,
Shield
if you know
in
anything
front.
about Roman history,
Swords
those are
ready.
like the three type of
With
Roman
one many bubbles.
soldier types that everybody knows, which is Hastati, Principe, and Triarii. The freshman soldiers being the Hastati, and then later the Principes, and then the oldest, most veteran